We are just eating Dialga for lunch, and you can use that as a quote.
Today is the first ever Legendary Lunch Hour test event. Could be the last ever. Hopefully not, though. First ever Legendary Lunch event in Pokemon GO. So what we're going to see is a Legendary raid appear on every gym. Unfortunately, except for the gyms that already have a raid on them or have an EX raid scheduled this week. So while this nice spattering of raids here would normally be considered a good thing, unfortunately, they're all clustered together here in the area where I planned on starting, but as it just turned over to 1150, there we go, look at that. They're all popping up. So 4 down there at the pike, definitely gonna head down there. 1 right here across the street, another one there. Everything except the gyms that already had raids on them have legendary eggs hatching in 10 minutes. Go 10 seconds till all these eggs hatch. Just a crazy number of raids. Never seen such a thing. We're jumping in, and there's a lot of Instinct gyms. Wow. Shout out Team Instinct for holding it down before the event started. It's sunny weather today, so we're going with the Groudons. It's also 1 straight hour, 2 lucky eggs worth of raids, so I'm gonna pop the lucky egg. Got the star piece on. Here we go. Legendary Lunch Hour. I just ate breakfast. So the thing about Legendary Lunch Hour is that you do sort of need to be coordinated ahead of time. It's definitely an event designed for people who work together, groups of people. Obviously, you hear me talk a lot about the lunch break raiders of downtown Long Beach. There are a lot of people who come out on their lunch breaks for their raids. People who work in all the different buildings right here. So the idea behind the event is to give these people a time when they can all just go out together all at once and get a bunch of raids done, instead of having to, try to sneak away from work every once in a while throughout the day to get a raid in here and there. There's a whole lunch break filled with raids. So you can take your lunch to go. You can eat a late breakfast like I did, maybe eat at your desk. But you do definitely have to be coordinated because there's so many eggs hatching at once. It's kind of hard unless you're in a massive city. It would probably be hard to just show up at a raid egg that's hatching and hope that there's a group there, because they could be at any one of these 25 raids that are nearby. I started here because I know a lot of them work right across the street, and I figure this is probably a good place for me to meet up with them. Turns out I was right. Tim.
Hey man.
Yo. Let's see here. First one down, headed to the second. 2261 is going to be my worst Dialga yet. But it's still a Dialga. I need those candies. Good news. So, remember all those gyms that had raids on them already at the top of the hour? They've been replaced now by Dialga, so maybe it was actually a good thing, because now there's varying timers. So if you were to plan out a route, you could come back to these later. Like this one still has 56 minutes left on it, almost a full hour, whereas the rest of them are already down 20 minutes on their timer. Nice.
We are just eating Dialga for lunch, and you can use that as a quote.
There you go. I feel like our group's just snowballing, getting bigger and bigger. Every raid we run into a different group of people, and it gets easier and easier, but 10 minutes left, so I think we have time for maybe 2 more raids up on the corner over here. I think this will be the last one here. There's 6 minutes left on this one, but mostly 18 seconds left. It's 12:59. A couple of them started later, again, because they had raids on already at 12. But all in all, not bad. And there it is, last one down, on a silver pineapple. Up to 33 candies. There's still a couple stragglers there that started late, again, because they had raids on them already at noon. But I think we're just about done here. We could probably run down to that one, but I think we did what, 7? Let's see. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 raids in an hour on foot, just kind of casually walking. Not bad. Capping it off with one special trade here. Carnivine for an old Hitmonchan. Maybe we can get lucky. I gave out Lucky Tropius. I don't know about Carnivine.
Oh.
Actually, I did give
That
out
was the first time.
I gave out 100% Lucky Carnivine one time. Let's see. X. But
Oh wow.
it's alright.
It's alright.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. I'm done here, but I'm also, we ended right across the street from my barber shop, so head in and get this cleaned up. So let's talk about Legendary Lunch Hour. I asked on Twitter how it went, and the responses are mixed, but I would say generally positive. The important thing to remember is that it's not for everyone. A lot of people express this sentiment of, well, it doesn't work with my schedule, so it's a bad event. But unfortunately, nothing is going to work with everyone's schedule, and an event like this, I think, is catered more towards people who generally do have to work during other events. Some people work weekends, some people can't make it to Community Day, and this is just a nice little bonus in the middle of the week for anyone who works with people who play the game. There's a different target audience for this type of event, and for everyone else, think of it as maybe just a bonus. If you can't raid during that time, it's alright, you're really not missing out on too much. You could maybe get 3 or 4 extra raids in, but it's just a small little thing that Niantic's trying to do for people who generally have to work, but maybe try to get out to do raids once in a while during the workday. For me, I met up and raided with a lot of the people who raid here downtown during the workday, and for them, they enjoyed it. It was just a nice little bonus for them. People who work in the offices downtown here, and they generally will kind of get together and go out for a raid. If they see a raid that's near the office, everyone will kind of schedule a break to take a break at the same time, go down, do the raid, and then go back to work. A lot of times that's obviously during lunch, which is why I generally refer to them as the lunch break raiders. So these are the target audience for this type of event. And again, for them, this event was a success. It was a positive. They enjoyed it. And I think that's the audience that Niantic was really targeting with this. For some of them, they just came out and did a couple raids, just one lucky egg, did 3 raids, and then went back in and spent the next 30 minutes actually eating lunch. Some of them stayed out for the whole hour and got in 7 or 8 raids. So I think for people who work in an office or go to school or just have a group of people that they play with during the week, this is a great event. One of the guys that I was raiding with says that he only raids during the week, during work hours, because at home, he doesn't really have people to raid with. He's only able to raid here in downtown during work hours. So for him, this was perfect. It was a perfect opportunity to get out and catch a few extra Dialga, since he can't do that at home, since he can't do that on days when he's not working. And obviously in some places the weather was bad. For some people they can't get off work, but again, it's not for everyone, but I think for the people that it was meant for, it went well. And again, it's just an hour. It's a really short event, and you're not really getting anything extra aside from a few easy attempts to get raids in with your group. If you have a group of people that you raid with during the week, it's perfect for you. If not, well, you're really not missing out on that much. I think if this does happen again in the future, it's good to plan ahead of time. It's good that it was announced ahead of time so that everyone kind of knew, like, hey guys, we should take our lunch break together on Wednesday. If you have a raid group, coordinate with them ahead of time, because again, I kind of got lucky. I knew where they would probably be raiding, so I was able to meet up with them. But in a big city like New York City, I saw some feedback there that it's kind of hard to just show up. And I said this earlier, it's hard to show up and find a group if every gym has a legendary egg hatching. Normally you can just show up when an egg hatches in a city like Long Beach, and everyone will kind of be there because they're expecting, everyone just shows up when the egg hatches, and there aren't 30 eggs at a time. But when every gym has an egg, you have to be coordinated ahead of time. So in the future, if you had trouble finding a group today, if this event happens again, if we get another legendary lunch hour, coordinate ahead of time. Find your group ahead of time so that everyone can plan to meet at the same gym. I mean, aside from that, I think it was great. I think it was just a nice little thing for Niantic to do for these people who generally raid during the day. I think it might be nice to try it out at different hours, maybe like a post-work hours, legendary lunch, legendary happy hour after work, maybe like 5 to 6 or 6 to 7. If they try it out during different hours or alternate the hours every week, maybe it could work out and hit different groups of people who can't take a break during lunch or who, whatever the reason is. If they alternate or change up the hours every once in a while, I think it would be a great thing to do at least once a week or at the very least, at least once per legendary raid boss that we have, because it gives people a nice opportunity to group up and do some raids during the weekday. So nice little event format, definitely nothing groundbreaking. It's not a huge event, but I think it went well. Let me know in the comments what you thought, how you felt about it, if you enjoyed it, if you think there's something that needs to be changed, aside from just the fact that it doesn't work with your schedule, because we know it's not going to work with everyone's schedule. And maybe there's a time that works better for you. Put that in the comments so maybe Niantic can see what groups or what times people are generally raiding or can raid, and maybe they can adjust for future events. All in all, though, I liked it. I think it was a nice little thing to do during the day, and hopefully it continues. See you soon.